Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of the Gamma Roundtable. Today, we'll be covering Gamera Super Monster, the final episode for the show era. Finally, my plate is done. We're done with it. I'm free. We've did it. Never asking for anything again. Today, you're joined by me, Mulder, otherwise known as Faye, and
Done here once again.
And Crash here, per usual.
today we are joined by a very special guest.
A very special guest. Hi, everyone. I'm Cam.
So, Cam,
Sorry.
that was actually a pretty good intro. By the way,
I
everyone.
didn't know if I should tell them who I am or anything. I don't
No,
know.
it's fine because I realized in our pre-recording I forgot to ask you what you wanted to be called, so I hesitated for a second. So you saved me from that. By the way, just an FYI, I am no longer sick, but I still have a little bit of a cough afterwards. So don't worry about it if you hear it. Anyways, so Cam, as you might know, every time we have a guest on, we ask them how they got into the subject of our season. It's because the subject of our season, this season, oh my god, I said an oxymoron, is Gamera. How did you get into Gamera?
I got into Gamera the same way I got into Godzilla. I used to hang out with my cousin a lot as a kid, and he had a bunch of bootleg DVDs of Mystery Science Theater 3000. And so we spent a lot of time watching them cover like Godzilla versus Megalon and Gamera versus Giran, and so those two have a special place in my heart. And yeah, I just love the cheesiness, the crazy plots, and super silly special effects and all that. And then I would take my research to like YouTube and stuff like that, find out more about these movies, and here we are. I can't stop talking about them.
No wonder you requested the silliest of all.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, as I said, we are covering Gamera Super Monster today. Gamera Super Monster is from 1980, and it was the attempt to bring Gamera back. And as I said, it didn't work. Well, not said, but implied. But yeah, it didn't work out. So Crash, I'm gonna put you on the spot again because I like to do it. It's fun. What would you give Gamera Super Monster out of 10?
Out of 10, probably like a 4 to 10.
Are you? Oh my god, this is like sometimes you underrate, sometimes you overrate. Crash.
What are you gonna give it like a negative 45 out of 10?
No, I would give it a
Close.
3 out of 10.
I'd okay, whatever. I've explained my number ratings enough time.
Crash, like, don't get on me. My number ratings, I literally don't think about them at all. Cam, what would you give it out of 10?
I'd give it a 1 out of 10. I think this is like bottom of the barrel, worst you could possibly get. Like, especially if you're like going through the Showa era, like you're binging through it movie after movie. This is just painful even after everything that you've been through with like Zigra or Jiger or anything like that. Like, this is just it's a slog to get through.
Yeah, I would kind of agree to a degree, but I think Zigra's a little more boring, but we'll get that in a second. Son, out of 10. I know you really hated this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with you and give it a 3 out of 10. And I'm gonna be honest, the other 2 points are mostly from watching it with other people.
I could not imagine watching this one by myself. Like I said, I feel like a lot of these are improved by watching with people, and this one was still a slog to a degree watching with people. This one and Zigra, I could not imagine watching alone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I watched it alone last night, so.
Oh man, no wonder it's so low.
It took 2 sessions. I was like, all right, before I go to bed, let's watch the movie for the podcast, and then I couldn't do it. I went to bed and I woke up this morning and I finished it. Like, I couldn't do it in one sitting. It was hard.
See, See, like, well, okay, real quick, I'll get into that in a second. So yeah, this one was directed once again by Noriaki Yuasa. This would end up being his final Gamera movie. I know Noriaki Yuasa has his fans, but I have to say, in my opinion, kinda glad it was the last one that we have to cover on here. No offense to him. I think this kind of shows the epitome of a mix of both budget and lack of bigger ideas that could sometimes happen with Yuasa, unfortunately. But yeah, with this one, because of the fact that this came out in 1980, with Daei being a shell of its former self after it got revived, it has no budget at all. Like, this is the epitome of low budget.
Do we
Yeah.
know what the actual estimation of it is? Like the actual estimated budget?
I haven't seen an estimate of the budget, unfortunately, because I actually looked to try to find that and how much it flopped,
Mm-hmm.
and I could not find specific numbers. But let me see real quick. Let me 1 second.
I'm gonna guess $15.
So, somewhere around there, I'm sure.
That's what
It's-
it looks like.
Let me see.
Yeah, a lot of what I'm looking is just like question mark, question mark.
Yeah, that's the thing.
No one fucking knows.
Yeah, like you could tell it's cheap. But how cheap? No one can seem to find. Yeah, I can't find it, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, the budget. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the budget was incredibly low.
Mm-hmm.
Hence why there's no other monsters in this outside of
Yeah.
stock footage.
Watching
That's
it,
the
it
big
feels like it would probably have the budget of something like an Asylum movie.
Yeah,
And a lot of
Yeah.
it feels like an Asylum movie because like that's the hallmark of that, of like Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark or something like that. You don't
Yeah.
really see any action happening. It's kind of like they look at it and talk about it. But this movie had the advantage of at least having stock footage to show us. But that's all this movie is characters sitting in rooms describing action or talking
Yeah.
about action. Like it's painful just thinking about how they made it.
yeah.
Definitely.
Though I will give you Asa credit for this, and I won't blame him for this, because reading, you'll find that he actually was not happy with how low the budget was, and that he felt that the expectations put on him in the movie with such a low budget were absolutely unreasonable.
Yeah.
And with that, I agree. Like, there is no way to make a movie of any quality with a budget this low.
Yeah, it's like also you can't expect to try and revive a series like that for 10 years and be like, here's $20, make Gamera popular again. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so dumb.
I also think it's worth mentioning, just because I find it interesting, this is the last ever Showa era film, not just for Gamera, but in general. Because, like, even though Return of Godzilla technically came out in the Showa era per se, it was the start of the stylistic and tonal shift to the Heisei era stuff. And I think that's also interesting to consider with this movie.
That's how you do a revival. You actually give them a big budget and try out all these different special effects. When it's weird that they wanted this to be Gamera is back. Like this is our big revival of Gamera. When they gave him nothing to work with. Like yeah, I agree with you that you can't blame too much of any of the filmmakers on this when they just had nothing to help them out with it.
Yeah, and I think that's really what hurts the movie, because like you said, just to get the elephant in the room out of the way, the stock footage is just awful in the film, because it's not really edited that well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have a note about editing.
It's very choppy, it's very inconsistent. Sometimes fights that are different fights are edited together in ways that make them feel like janky. Like Giron's fight and Barugan's fight in particular. Jiger's also, because they're edited down from what in the movies are like 3 different fights. It's like 3 or 2 different fights. into one singular fight, it does not work at
Yeah.
all.
I like that you brought up the Jiger fight because like I feel like it's unintentional, but it made me laugh out loud. There's a scene, the villain Spacewoman, she's like talking to the knockoff Star Destroyer, and they say, "All right, we're gonna send Jiger down," and she says, "Yes, that'll work." And then it cuts immediately to Jiger falling on top of a building, and I'm just picturing them
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
throwing
that's so
Jiger
funny.
from the Star Destroyer, throwing him to Earth, and we just see him landing on the building. That's how he got to Earth, and that's all I was thinking about.
It's so funny because like that's just the immediate cut. They get like the little title too. It's like
Yeah,
Jiger,
yeah.
like monster of fucking I don't know whatever its title is, and then it's just fucking falling from the
I
sky
think it's
immediately.
like Devil Beast Jiger or something like that.
Something.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Crash or Ton, if you have anything you guys want to say about the stock footage issue.
I have a lot of things to say about the stock footage issue.
Go ahead, Crash.
No, I was just gonna say like it's like 90% of the movie. There's no new kaiju stuff in this, and besides fucking Gamera occasionally like fucking floating in the air. Like it's just all of this felt like was just it's like a greatest hits of the Showa era for Gamera. Like it's just a big clip show. It's so boring because I've seen all this already. And you know, for us, we're watching these a week after week. So this is
Yeah.
just like, okay, thanks for condensing like the last 7 weeks into one movie, I guess. It's just so boring and so bad. Like you can't make a movie that's 90% stock footage unless you're doing like a fucking documentary or something. Like I don't know what they were expecting with this. It's so cheap.
Yeah, and like in comparison to like the Godzilla movie with the most stock footage, which apparently is All Monsters Attack, which I would not have expected. I feel like All Monsters Attack at least justified it in its plot more.
Mm-hmm.
Because that movie is kind of meant to take place in the head of each hero, but that's a different discussion. I feel like with this, they don't even like the plot almost breaks to explain some stuff. Like with Giron, Gamera literally flies into space, kills Giron, and then flies back to Earth.
Yeah.
That part was so hilarious.
Oh, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I think the stock footage. I'm not huge on stock footage in general, but you can usually accept it's kind of a consequence of a lower budget, or just to save time if you're working on a TV production. But Super Monster really doesn't have that excuse. The fact that just every fight in this movie is just re-edited clips from the older movies. It's almost like it almost feels insulting. Like for an audience, especially ones that seen the other Gamera films already, it's just like, hey, you know those movies you like? Now you can watch the fights from them again, but in worse quality. And it's just, and the loops they have to jump through to try and justify these scenes happening is just so
And
Too bad.
obnoxious.
yeah, and like I was saying, when we watched this also, by the 1980s, this was when you started getting like movies on VHS and on TV. So the allure of seeing the stock footage again because you couldn't see it like outside of a theater is kind of lost too. Like I'm pretty sure by this point you could see these Gamma movies in other ways beyond just theatrically.
Yeah. Do
Hmm.
you think that this movie would be worth recommending to someone who doesn't feel like watching 6 or 7 Gamera movies and just kind of wants to get the gist of what they're like?
No, because I feel like this one's actually very weird in its own way.
Okay.
I feel like it's doing its own weird thing. I'll get into it in a second because there's a topic I want to discuss that with.
Okay.
But good question though.
Mm.
Also, I feel like because of the stock footage and how it has to be edited, it leads into some like I feel like the monsters in it get wasted. Like we were discussing, um, You figured they would have saved Gauss for last because Gauss is Gamera's arch enemy. But instead, Gauss ends up going first.
It's really weird. The order of monsters they fight has no real meaning. I guess it's just what they thought looked nice edited together, but it's just really
Yeah.
awkward and strange. There's no like hierarchy or build up to a specific villain. Because it fucking ends with Barugan.
Yeah, I think them ending it on Barugan was them trying to be like, well, that was his first enemy. So because I don't think Gauss had that stigma yet of him being
He
Gamera's
kind of
greatest adversary yet, or I might be
Yeah.
wrong.
he
I
had
mean, like,
it. He was at least the most popular, I would say, at the time.
yeah, I
Okay.
guess the only reason why I would say that because you're at this point it probably wasn't like super established yet, just because he is technically the only one to kind of return in a really dank way. Giron with like fucking space
Oh
gas.
right, yeah, Space Gauss.
So
And
because of that, I was
and
like,
I do know, in terms of like, because there was Gamera stage shows, Gauss apparently was presented as Gamera's biggest enemy, even back in like the late 60s, early 70s.
Wait,
even if it's only by a bit, it just seems like Gauss would have been more fitting to end on.
there was a Gamera stage production?
Yes, with Godzilla.
I didn't even know that.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, how did I need to okay, I need to research that later.
It's
I'm, like, off
interesting.
topic, but
We only have photos from it, but in that, Gauss is presented as Gamera's archenemy.
Oh, okay. I have to look into that.
It's pretty interesting. But
Cool.
yeah, like because like to compare, because this movie's obviously ripping off Destroyer Monsters. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
That element of the plot, all the monsters, is obviously taken from Destroyer Monsters. And in that, it ends on King Ghidorah, which makes sense.
Hmm.
And like my joke was, if you ended Destroyer Monsters on Godzilla's first enemy, we've ended on them all beating up Anguirus. Like, just because,
Yeah, good point. Good
just
point.
because somebody's the first doesn't mean they're fitting. Like, I'll give Barugon, at least Barugon's more of a threat than Anguirus, per se. But at the same point, I feel like Gauss had already established himself in like that kind of arch enemy role to a degree.
Okay.
Not as much as what happened later on, but so, and also the other big ones to me, they entirely remove Viras and Zigra's personalities by doing this.
I'm hip. No more Zegra speeches. I'm so mad.
Like they don't even try to go, oh, we've allied ourselves with the Viras and the Zigra. It's just like, oh yeah, these formerly sapient species that were their own like civilizations are now like mind controlled by them for some reason.
Yeah, I don't think this movie's trying to establish itself in any previous canon or anything. They
Yeah,
here's some footage of a monster. It's just a monster now. Who cares what it was in its own movie?
yeah, literally. But it's just a shame. I feel like it removes any uniqueness that Viras or Zigra had before
Mm-hmm.
by virtue of that, which
Definitely.
is a thing, I guess. But yeah, does anyone else have anything else they want to say about the stock footage?
Can't
Not
think
that
of
I can
anything
think
right
of.
now.
Yeah.
Ton?
Yeah, I think it's my piece.
Okay. Well, the second big obvious elephant in the room, I want to get out of the way. The ripoffs in this movie are really fucking funny and really fucking obvious.
Yeah.
This was after the giant Star Wars craze in
Yeah.
Japan. Same year as Empire Strikes Back. So obviously, they make the main villain a literal Star
Fucking
Destroyer.
Star Destroyer.
I love that they don't even have like people that show up. Like there's the one Spacewoman, but no, it is just the
I'm
Star
hip, yeah.
Destroyer.
It's a
Yeah.
sentient Star Destroyer,
There's
apparently.
the same opening shot where the ship is flying over the camera and extending from the original movie. And
Exactly.
the music like has a similar like chord progression to the real
Yeah,
Star Wars.
it's so
theme.
comical. It's just fucking Star Wars.
I thought I was watching Spaceballs for a second.
I know, yeah, it's that weird, like, slightly bootleg as Star Destroyer. But it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, this is all genuine. They were really like, yeah, check it out. We're cool. We got fucking Gamera Star Destroyer, Gamera X Star Wars. Like, it's so bad. It's so fucking weird. That's the thing. There's no monster, like, real villain in this besides a Star Destroyer spaceship. It's so weird.
Because it's just a Star Destroyer and the voice on the evil space woman's like communication device. That's it.
Yeah,
We never see him.
we're just led to like assume. I guess there's someone on there.
Yeah,
Maybe.
or people on there because they say she's like a space pirate.
Apparently, no budget for spaceship sets. Then obviously.
And
Yeah.
the biggest waste of that Star Destroyer is like when Gamera has the face off with it at the end where they're like flying towards each other. We don't even like see it blow up or anything. It just like we get like a really far away shot and we see like a blue light in space, and I guess we're supposed to wonder if Gamera is dead or not. But like if you're gonna create any model at all with the no budget you have, at least blow it up at the end to give us something.
I'm
cool.
hip. Yeah.
But
No
they don't even
budget to
give us
blow it up.
that.
No
Yeah,
budget.
Couldn't afford
we don't have
the.
enough money for pyrotechnics, but we can spray paint some black to make it look like a car got evaporated on the parking lot or something.
They could have like painted a sledgehammer green and just like broke it like on set and just
Sure.
Mhm.
green screened it out.
Ton, as a big Star Wars person, how do you feel about the Star Destroyer?
Well, okay, I'm gonna be uncharacteristic and say a nice thing.
Oh, okay.
I think as a miniature, it's very impressive how well put together it is.
hmm
It does look like something that could exist in Star Wars, and I know how difficult making those miniatures are, so it's definitely impressive. But its usage in the movie, a lot less so.
Yeah.
It just kind of sits there in space and then shoots down those badly edited in lasers. And like Cam said, you don't even see it blow up or fight Gamera. Like I think if this movie had ended on like an epic space battle between Gamera and a fake Star Destroyer, that could have been awesome. But we don't get that. So it's just kind of wasted potential. So I won't fault the existence of Xanon. I think it's a cool. No, sorry, Xanon. I think it
Mhm.
looks cool, but like a lot of things in this movie, it's just kind of wasted.
Also, like you brought up, Ton, their aim is awful.
Oh yeah.
I
So
just thought that was so weird. That was weird that there's like when the girls are in their Superman costumes, like that's the only time the Star Destroyer can shoot them.
Yeah.
When they're out of it, like
Apparently.
you can't see where they are or figure it out. Oh jeez.
Don't even get me started on like the fucking Spacewoman. I don't know what they do in this movie.
Well, funny enough, I was about to bring them up because they're the
Well,
second big late 70s sci-fi thing from America that's ripped off. This is obviously ripping off Superman the movie with them.
mhm.
Yeah.
It's a mix of Superman the movie and at the time the really blowing up Super Sentai stuff and just in general other Henshin heroes like that.
I was wondering that for a little bit. Was this like Daei trying to do what Toho did with Zone Fighter and try to make a new superhero property, but spruced in with some Gamera to try and bring it more marquee value? Or
I
something?
have to wonder because while there's obviously Superman the movie stuff in it, like the flying and stuff, I
Yeah,
also think it feels a lot like Henshin Hero stuff.
sure. Yeah,
Definitely.
And I wouldn't be
Take
surprised
the
if the
little.
movie did well, they would have spun it off.
They even take the little kid flying at the end, like Superman and Lois Lane.
Oh boy, we'll get into that
Okay,
because that. Oh boy, that's something. Right.
that blue screen.
Mhm.
In general, everything with that. But yeah, with that, I feel like, and this is where I will blame you, Asa. It comes off as very creatively bankrupt, in my opinion. How much you're taking from other stuff.
Yeah. It's just like two major other properties that existed right now, trying to put them together to be like, look, Gamera's hip, and it all the stuff you like from other better series. Check it out. And it just doesn't really work, especially because they don't really do anything with them. You can't just take like an iconography from another series and just throw it into your own. and act like that's gonna make up for something you lack.
Exactly. And I feel like they don't even blend it in that well into the movie, in my opinion.
There's like fucking 12 minutes of new footage in this goddamn movie, so like it's also very poorly edited in together.
Exactly.
Felt like they didn't get a new Gamera costume. It felt like a pre-existing like Gamera puppet that was
Okay.
meant for the flying shots.
Okay, here's the weird thing. And again, I guess I'll get into the Gamera screen time now too. They actually did get a new Gamera suit
Oh, okay.
and a new Gamera prop. They just ended up not using the suit at all except for one brief scene.
Is it the scene when he walks past the Godzilla sign?
Yes, and it kind of sick because you brought it up now. That scene is so fucking stupid
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're gonna dunk on Godzilla in this absolute dog shit movie. The audacity!
I'm
Like of
hip.
all the Gamera movies, this is the one where you try to be like, yeah, fuck you, Godzilla, we're better.
So funny. That's why Toho has refused to work with Gamera ever since. They took it personally.
It's because of that one shot.
Yeah,
Where he
exactly.
stepped on a
That would be
Godzilla
so
sign.
funny if that's why. I mean, Toho would be those kind of petty bastards.
That thing you did in 1980, didn't like that, bro. That was rude.
It's like in the Telltale games, Toho
Toho will
will
remember that.
exactly, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
no!
Oh,
You gotta start over,
Toho.
Daei. But yeah, the suit like you mentioned. Okay, the Gamera suit has seen better days. Hasn't always looked perfect, but it's definitely looked a lot better than it did in this movie. And this movie is just so. It looks dead. It literally looks like a fucking like. What's that called when you like stuff a dead animal? Taxidermy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
Gamera
sure,
looked
yeah,
taxidermy
yeah.
in this movie.
taxidermy Gamera.
No life in Gamera's eyes in this movie.
That's the thing is no. He's just so static. He just like floats arms out like a fucking prop. Because it's okay. They made the prop look like a prop in your movie. That's what you're supposed to do.
yeah.
It's so yeah, like and it's
but
only
they
for like few
but it
scenes.
doesn't look convincing. Is the
Exactly,
word.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like he's just still like a fucking brick. No life or movement in it at all. It's not like shot in a way that like at least kind of makes you think maybe it's alive. It's just like
Its mouth opens a little bit.
exactly, yeah.
Just a
Like they managed
little.
to squeeze the hinge a little bit to make it look like his mouth is opening somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And it's so unconvincing.
And like the other thing, I feel like. Oh wait, 1 second. First though, Cam, do you know why they had to use a new Gamera suit?
I don't actually. Please inform me.
When Daei went bankrupt in 1971, there
Mhm.
was a little bit of a riot on the studio set,
Oh, okay.
and in the process, the angry employees burnt all the Gamera stuff.
Oh my god.
I'm hip.
Wow.
It's so funny. It's one of my favorite. Just the idea of them being like, fuck camera. It's just lighting it on fire kills me.
Oh, you know what? This movie makes so much more sense now. They just didn't. They wanted to like have all the monsters come back, but they didn't have any of the costumes because it was all destroyed. Wow.
Yeah,
Illuminating.
it's pretty wild.
It explains a lot.
Yeah. But on the other hand, though, it's been 8 years since then.
Sure.
9 years, depending on when they started filming. So it's like, guys, you had plenty of time to recover from that. It's
Yeah.
not like Toho never lost suits before either.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, though, Daei was also still strapped for cash. But that's another topic on how Daei was eternally strapped for cash
Right.
by this point. Seeing, like I said, they did go bankrupt for a time and have to be
Yeah.
bailed out.
Yeah.
It's not like Toho didn't have their budget cuts with stuff like they wanted Varen and Destroy All Monsters, but the original suit was gone. All that was left was that stiff prop, and
Yeah.
it flies around in a few shots.
For sure. I think that the main difference was just like, yeah, it's funny, we talked a lot in our Godzilla stuff how like Toho has had its own very many fair shares of like financial complications. But I think, like you said in the last episode, Mulder, it's because the president of Daei was just like a fucking idiot. Like he was just like
Yeah.
wasting money on like stupid shit. And it's like if it wasn't for that, I think they probably would have been in a slightly better place.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think that's the big difference between Daei and Toho. For all of Toho's many issues they had financially, because the entire, like I think something to bring up here, the entire financial what am I saying? The entire theatrical industry was having very big issues at the time in Japan. And nobody was doing well, to be honest. Like from 1970 until about 1990, the industry was suffering heavily.
Wow.
There was like 20 years of like, we have no money. Hence why Toho retired Godzilla themselves until 1984. But Daei, the president was super wasteful in what he spent his money on. Like they bought a baseball team, all kinds of crazy, extravagant stuff for the sake of it. Hence why the employees rioted when they got laid off in the bankruptcy, because they were like, you caused this by your own financial misruin. So like I kind of get it. But that's a big tangent. Oh my god.
No problem, no problem.
The financial troubles episode.
I mean,
One
yeah,
day.
I think it's all relevant because of how low budget it is, and so poorly produced this movie is. Talking about like the state of the industry in Japan during that time.
What I
Very
also
real.
find interesting though
Yeah.
is at least kaiju wise, it wasn't just on film that stuff was failing. Because
Right.
over in TV, Ultraman 80 killed Ultraman for 20 years.
Wow.
Practically. Which is wild to me.
Mhm.
There was no Japanese Ultraman until like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure Tiga was the first one. Because I know there was Jack and Powered, but those were from Australia and America, respectively. They were not Japanese productions solely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So only Godzilla kind of got off easy because his hiatus was only 9 years. Gamera's hiatus would end up being like 15 years, but anyways, let me not get into a big tangent.
It's so long. But yeah. Movie definitely, as we've stated many times, has no budget.
But yeah. But yeah,
Sucks that we got more Gamera after this at all, after how big of a fail this is,
and speaking of Gamera,
less Gamera.
fun fact: there's only 2 minutes of Gamera in this movie. That's new.
That makes sense. That sounds.
It's insane to me. I was like 2 minutes. Oh my god!
So
and like nothing happens in those. He feels almost like he's not meant to be in this movie.
Like you can't. You're trying to do a monster
movie.
Yeah, you're trying to do a monster movie without like your monster. Like, what are you doing? There's no budget for that. Ugh.
No budget. But also, there's one more topic I want to get into before I cover the characters, because they're most of the movie, anyways.
Yeah.
Ton, do you want to lead us in with the anime stuff in this movie? Because I think it's. I think you have to cover this because you love Yamato.
Yeah, so there's two very strange scenes in this movie where while Gamera's flying through space, you see a sudden shift in the stock footage. Instead of live action, it's Gamera flying against what's clearly animation, and you hear the iconic theme song of Space Battleship Yamato. Now, if you're not an anime person, you don't recognize Space Battleship Yamato. You might, if you know anything about Japanese media, you'll at least recognize the ship itself, or if you know the American title, Star Blazer. And it's just so random. They literally just took the intro of Yamato, the first couple minutes of it, and have Gamera flying next to Yamato.
It's so weird.
Yeah, Jinx. Cause like, okay, we're just watching it, and all of a sudden it's just like fucking anime spaceship. It's like, what? I was so confused. Like, did they randomly like, is this where the budget went into? But you're like, no, it's just fucking footage from another property. A little, I don't even own, right? Like,
No, they don't own it. Usually me and Ton were talking about this over the weekend. We were like, what happened there? Was it like a promotion? Did they steal it? What
Yeah.
happened? Because we could not figure out if this was official or not.
they were just like, yo, what do the kids like? They like Star Wars. Yeah, they like superheroes. They like anime. All right, put it all in there. They fucking like,
Exactly.
it
Like,
plays nothing to
it's
the plot.
so
either.
bizarre. We could not figure it out. And it's not just Yamato either. Go ahead, Ton, for the second one.
Yeah, and the other one is Galaxy Express 999, which is another really popular anime from the 70s. And both are made by Leiji Matsumoto, so I hope to God they like at least asked his permission before just stealing his
Oh,
mangas.
yeah, fucking the space train. I was so like confused. I was already confused. It's a space train. I was down with it, but then Gamera was like, "Yo, it's a space train." I'm like, "I'm hip." Like,
And it's like, what is it doing in the movie? It
Gamera's
has
just cruising
no
and he fucking
purpose.
sees it, and
Mhm.
they only kind of try to imply it's like a dream, but then also not a dream.
Because here's the weird thing with the dream stuff. They imply the dreams are happening because like when they hear about how like the kid dreamed of Gatsby in the future, like, oh man, he must like know what's going on or something. So it's like, what is it? I'm really confused by it.
The
Yeah, like he
space and
tells his
Gamera.
mom that all his dreams come true, and then he dreams about this space train that's heading towards Earth. I went, oh, here's a new kind of bad guy showing up on a cartoon train, but then
God,
nothing happens. It's never referenced again. It just goes away from the movie.
that would have been way more interesting if they had to
But
fight the space train.
but like just for me, because me and Ton are Yamato fans. When that started happening, I was dying laughing. It was so funny. I could not get over it.
Took me out of the movie for a solid minute. I was just like,
Because I knew it was there. I knew it was coming. But I thought the stock footage would be to like boost up like the space fighting or whatever. But then the fucking scene starts, and I'm like, oh my god, they're just flat out inserting Yamato into this. It was
Mhm.
so funny. I
After
could
like
not get over it.
20 years of Gamera getting fucking hit on the head, he's just got like brain damage now. He's just seeing trains in space and shit. He's just seeing shit now.
Mhm.
That's as good an explanation as any. And like, see, like with the dreams, I don't know if that was you also like trying to mix in what kids were into with Gamera, and like, see, look, they're dreaming about their favorite things, or if it's part of that thing, because there is a bit of product placement earlier on for Shonen Jump where they randomly advertise
yeah.
one of the Shonen Jump manga, and they're like, look at Muscle Man, or what the fuck his name is. Son, maybe you remember the name. Is it Muscle Man?
Yeah, Muscle Man. Yeah.
Oh wow, I got it right. Cool.
Mhm.
And like, I don't know if there's promotional stuff going on here, because as we've seen in the past two movies, Daei and Gamera are a slut for promotional stuff.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's pretty funny. But
And with this budget, they need all the money they could get, but it's very confusing, and it does not fit in with the plot at all.
yeah, that's just kind of the name of the game here, I guess.
But
But
gave me flashbacks to Godzilla versus Hedorah when they had their little weird animation.
But at least
yeah,
there,
yeah, that was original stuff at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at
like
least that was created
yeah,
for the movie and not just taken from something else. Like,
exactly.
fun
I was
fact with
tripping
that.
though.
Fun fact with that, we still don't know what studio made that animation.
really?
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Okay.
But yeah, anyways, that's Godzilla trivia. That's not even Gamera trivia. Let me not get into that.
We just keep going back to Godzilla.
We just
Almost.
really want to go back to Godzilla.
Mhm.
But anyways, I guess that's a good way to lead into the characters who are like the main part of this movie. I
Yeah.
guess we'll start with the kid. He's not the worst kid, I feel like, in the
Okay.
franchise.
I was gonna
No, he
say,
could be worse.
yeah, for sure. I mean, there's
He's
always the evil
fine.
kid.
He's a little stupid in my opinion, Like he trusts strangers.
Yeah, no, I wanted to bring up Stranger Dangers. I was like, oh, who is this kid's mom? Not telling him, hey, don't go off with some random lady who's gonna show you Gamera fighting a monster on the beach. Like,
I'm
that's a
hip.
trap, kid.
Well,
She's like, I'll buy
Cam,
you burger. And they're like, okay, true.
well, Cam, you have to remember, the mom is the only Amish person in Japan.
Oh, yeah,
Hence
that
why,
was true.
Okay.
hence why she doesn't think that the events going on around her are happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
she's always
That's
like
why
oblivious to it. She doesn't listen to anybody.
she's
She's
like,
completely disconnected.
well, when she tells her son, what the fuck was his name again? Let me find his name so I don't just
Oh,
keep calling him.
Keiji.
Ichi?
Oh yeah,
Something like that?
yeah. She keeps telling KG, "There's no Gamera fighting monsters." It's like, lady, look at the fucking news. What are you missing?
She doesn't trust the news, you see. She also doesn't trust newspapers or television
Well,
or the internet.
well, Crass. That's why we explained it away.
I know, yeah.
She's Amish.
Exactly. See, we're fixing the show at Gamera, like one episode at a time.
But it kind of feels like the whole world is oblivious. This is kind of a backtrack, but earlier in the movie, there's like a voiceover from the Star Destroyer that like says there are space women living on your world, and the three of them are like, "Oh no,
Yes.
we're found out," and all that. But then when the evil space woman shows up, she like gets hit on by some dudes, and you could like see her
Fucking
behind her.
killed.
There's just a bunch of people going about their business. It's like, did the whole world just hear that? Like, no one's panicking about that,
They're just
and
kind of like,
Yeah,
everyone's
okay.
going about their
it's
normal
super
life.
weird.
In that same scene, though, she fucking like paralyzes that one dude. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, he's electrocutes them or something.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's the kind
though.
of stuff that feels like an asylum movie is when like it's just so minuscule, just happens, just three characters know about it, but then it feels like the rest of the world has no idea.
Yeah, it's super weird.
It has that really like weirdly small scale feel, but they're trying to make it like worldly.
Huge.
Yeah.
Also with KG, he definitely has a lot of Toshio from the first movie.
Okay, I was gonna say
Mhm.
this movie comes full circle because this kid is kind of like Toshio Light, like Toshio 2. Like
Yeah.
he fucking loves turtles, gets that turtle, and he's kind of a dumbass. And I'm just like, I was waiting for like I talked about this in the movie. It was like the end reveal. It's like his dad shows up from like a business trip, and it's like, dude, his dad is Toshio. It's like it all makes sense.
That would have been iconic. I wish they did that. But alas, we don't even see his dad. He's just off screen all the time.
That's my
His
head.
dad is Gamera.
His dad is Gamera.
His dad, he thinks his dad is Gamera. He ran off to be with a turtle.
There's one other thing I want to talk about with KG, but I think I'll do it as its own point afterwards. But yeah, though, he's not bad. Like, I think there's been worse kid characters. I think Toshio's way more annoying.
Oh yeah,
And
for sure.
the Secret kids are more annoying, but not by any fault of their own. He's too young to
Yeah.
be doing a movie. He's kind of in the middle of the line, I feel like.
Yeah, like I think the actor does does a good job just making Keiichi just kind of a funny character, so he doesn't really feel that obnoxious. If he's a little simple since he doesn't really have another kid to play off of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other big characters are the three Spacewomen.
We can just
Mm.
lump them together, to be honest.
Yeah, because the only one that has like any presence is the pet shop one.
the main, yeah.
The other two are just
Turtle
kind of
lady.
there. They don't do anything. Really, the space women don't do much in regards to the plot. There's
Yes,
a
I'm
lot of talk
hip.
from the villains where it's like, oh, it's the space women. They are the
Not
ones
the
who are
space
helping
woman.
Gamera beat the monsters, but they're really not. They have the one
I'm
moment
hip.
when they
See,
try to
like,
control
something-
Gamera, but
Yeah.
they save him from that. But that's it. They don't do
What?
anything.
Okay, because you brought it up real quick to go on a tangent. I hate how they reuse the Gamma versus VRAS plot there. It's so annoying because they use the same stock footage they use in VRAS practically for that too.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same movie.
The fucking damn scene for the third time.
Okay, that was weird. That was the funniest shit ever. Because they reused the damn scene 3 times. So that just means like in universe, they just like rebuilt it, and then Gamer just came by and fucking destroyed it again. So a third time they're like, damn, This is the third time we've had to rebuild this dam. But luckily, Gamera's a good guy. And then Gamera fucking destroyed. They must hate Gamera so much.
Exactly.
It's so funny.
And to show his rampage, they used the stock footage from the fucking 1965 movie on the TV.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. They were like, okay, even they were like, okay, we can't get away with using black and white footage at this point. So they tried to play it off by being like, oh, it's just shitty footage from a TV.
Yeah.
So dang.
Or like also when they used the footage from Jagger of when Gamera got like impregnated with the parasite. But it's like he wasn't destroying things on purpose. But they try to make it seem like that. It's so funny.
This movie.
But yeah, going back to the Spacewoman, they really don't do much outside of that bit and when they fight the evil Spacewoman.
At the playground.
And something which I realized, the opening implies that they were the ones being chased in that spaceship. So how did they get their identities right away like that?
They had a backup identity, I guess. And every planet they go to, they already have a set identity ready for when they need to hop in at any time. Come on.
Okay,
it's all clearly implied in the backstory.
So were those kids that one of them was teaching? Were they like sitting there ready? Like, all right, we're here ready to cover up for the Spacewoman. She's gonna be coming soon if she's getting chased by a Star Destroyer.
She called ahead. She's like, guys, I'm gonna be a little late. Just hold on for me.
And to me, what I find really, really funny with the Spacewoman is how bad all the special effects are with them. Like the flying looks awful. Mm-hmm. When their car turns into a spaceship, it doesn't even turn into a spaceship. It turns into like a weird orange orb.
It's just the blurry orange blob, like from a distance. It's so.
The inside is just like a white soundstage.
Yes, I wanted to talk about the interior of that fucking blob, where it's just a bunch of white sheets. That's the budget we're working with. It's a bunch of white sheets in the background. Oh, it's awful.
It's not even. Like you see part of it like hanging out.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And like beyond that, with the Spacewoman also, they don't do much of anything with their powers either.
Yeah. I was complaining about that the whole movie. It was like, what do they do? They sometimes do a dance and they sometimes shrink and they sometimes fly. But they don't help like at all with the plot, like Casey besides being like, yo, there's like an evil alien woman or something.
Yeah, the shrinking to me is really weird. I don't get it.
They don't use it for anything except to like, yo, can you sneak us into like your house or some shit they do later?
Yeah.
They just have no. It's weird. They try to play them off as like, yo, these are like these superheroes, but they don't do anything. They just kind of hang around.
The most they do is, like I said, they free Gamera and then they fight. And by fight, I mean it's literally only
slight tussle on the playground,
and it's literally only the main one.
Maybe the other two just watching. They can only take turns. That's their power.
But yeah, also they have big lesbian vibes. Also, weirdly enough,
it's
just isn't a bad thing. It's just like okay.
I just don't get like what their presence is. Like I guess you said because they needed like a superhero because that was popular. But like they don't. The superhero has like nothing to do with them. Honestly, could have just been a fucking normal person. TBH, we've had normal people fight aliens before.
Yeah.
So the superheroing doesn't add anything. It just feels wasted because of the budget.
Exactly.
Have you guys watched Steven Universe?
Ton has.
It kind of doesn't it kind of make you think of that? There's a little kid.
Oh my god, though.
These three ladies.
Now that you say it. Oh my god, it is Steven Universe.
Rebecca Sugar saw this movie and said, "I can make this into a series." And even like with how they deal with the villain, where like this is Steven Universe treats all their villains like, "All right, and now you can be our friend," and she just hangs out with them for the rest of the movie.
I cannot see that now.
It is Steven Universe with Gamera. Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
Exactly what it is.
But yeah, speaking of the evil Spacewoman, she's fine. I guess.
Yeah, she's just
her redemption arc is super dank to me.
Oh yeah,
it's so rushed.
I love it. It's so funny. She's just like later on. She's like, "Damn, if I go back, nebulous spaceship is gonna kill me." And then they're like, "No, you can stay with us." And then she sleeps in the same bed as the kid. She's like, "Oh, you're my sister now." It's so fucking weird. Remember that?
It's so weird. That bit is so weird.
And then later on, I love when
They do that same shit in Steven Universe with like Lapis Lazuli and Peridot and all that, where they just like live with them now. They just become friends later.
I'm hit. And then like at the end when she's like, he's like, "Hey, have you found the space woman?" She's like, "Yeah, these coordinates," and she gets fucking shot. Why'd she kill herself? She could have just been like, "Yo, shoot like 2 feet away from me," and like could accomplish the same thing. I don't get why.
I
It's
think
so
the
dang.
idea was like she sacrificed herself so the Star Destroyer thinks the good guys are dead now.
But like,
I
does it
guess
know?
it's
But does it know
weird.
when it's hit somebody?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
But, like
I don't know
that's
what
not
the
something
Star
they ever
Destroyer
implied.
knows and doesn't know. It doesn't
Like,
make any sense.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, when you shoot someone, you can't tell. Like, okay, I shot someone. Like that guy's like 5 million fucking miles away in space. How's he about to be like, actually, I hit the sand next to your feet? Like he's not about to fucking know.
Yeah.
She could
And
have used like a prop or something.
and then she's like, "I want to be reborn on Earth," and we were so sure the movie would end with like a baby girl being born from like the mom.
Aww.
No,
Aw.
no, nothing.
No.
Which
Just a
makes it
lot of
really
weird stuff.
weird. Son,
Yep.
do we want to go into what me and you were talking about now, or should I talk about Gamera's death first?
Let's see talk about Gamera's death first.
Okay, Gamera fucking dies in this.
Okay.
It's not even
Fine,
ambiguous.
crab. Gamera is fucking dead. I've been waiting for this.
Basically, to explain, Naraki also was so upset by the budget. He was like, "I am not letting Gamera suffer anymore." So he made Gamera get killed off.
Mercy kill.
And it's such a weird bit because they just like rush towards each other, but it's just like with camera angles.
Yeah. Would that even kill Gamera? I mean, to be fair, Gamera's kind of.
Gamera's weak as shit,
Yeah, I
so.
was gonna say it's okay. He probably would kill him.
Well,
yeah,
the kids all upset, and the space woman have this weird like, it's okay because Gamera died for peace. It's like what?
Only through the elimination of violence can we go towards world peace or something like that.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It was gonna happen eventually, kid. You seen how
Yeah.
Gamera fights. You see, he died being a Star War.
It's such a weird scene. But
It
at the
is.
same time, though, I like it. I feel like it's almost symbolic of the end of the Showa era as a whole for kaiju movies.
Yeah, they fucking died in a bursting flame of fire. Yeah, it was really weird though, because like they crash into each other. And it's just like silence in space for like literally like 10 seconds. They
Yeah.
hold on to that
Yeah.
silence for so long. I was just like, I thought you paused the movie at first. I was like, well, there's like freeze or something, and it's like, okay, now there's the explosion.
It's so weird. Ton, do you have any thoughts on anything we talked about, by the way? I just realized I forgot to ask you.
No problem. Yeah, I guess just on the topic of Gamera's death, I on paper I like the idea of like Gamera kind of having his Iron Giant moment of self-sacrifice because that just kind of feels like the optimum of his character. I just wish it was in a better movie and a better
Yeah.
scene because like it's just really badly edited. It's so awkward, and then the reaction is just kind of tame. I'm not really huge on it. And then yeah, the space woman. It's like they're fun characters. The actresses do a good job, and they interact well with each other. And the action scene in the playground is good. But it's like it just doesn't really fit that well into the movie because as with everything, everything's so cheap and weirdly put together. Nothing just fits well. Like that's probably the big thing with this movie. Is like I don't think any idea in it is bad per se. In
Mhm.
fact, they had the budget. It probably could have been a really good movie.
Yeah,
As it is, it just none of it works.
yeah, that's fair. Ton, do you want to lead us into that other topic I was hinting at?
Yeah, there's some uncomfortable interactions with it. And like, okay, I'll state this as like I'm an American. I'm not Japanese, especially not from the '80s. So, you know, us Americans have different standards when it comes to kids interacting with adults. But when you have this kind of character dynamic of a kid hanging out with a bunch of adults, it just it gets weird to a certain point. Like the scene with Giruge, that's the evil space woman sleeping in the bed with the kid, and the whole sister scene. And it just has the one scene where the kid's mother is worried because he's gone from home all the time. And the leader of Space Woman is like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll send him home as soon as we see him." And then at the end of the movie, they're just flying off into space. Like, I hope they brought him home after that, but
And like to me,
no.
what makes it weird is they're like, "You're a spaceman now," and I'm like, "What? Excuse me?"
It's just super awkward.
It is weird. I think they're just trying to be like, oh, like you're a hero now, but like it's just weird how they do it. Kind of.
Like, to be blunt, because Tun's not willing to pull the Band-Aid off. It has almost sexual undertones at points in this movie. Because there's just weird bits in this movie. Like, for example, not to get too graphic, in the bit after the fight scene, you see the kid cleaning off the main space woman, and he keeps touching her ass. It's like, what is going
Oh,
on there?
I didn't notice that.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
It's just there's just weird bits in the movie that almost have sexual undertones, and it's like, is that just an unfortunate accident or something? I
Yeah.
want to hope so, is what I'll
Mhm.
say. But it kind of emerges when you're putting the kid with adults rather than with other kids, like the past movies.
Right.
Yeah. Because, like, in the past movies, when you had the space woman and the kids interacting, it's like, it was kind of like a almost Scooby Doo kind of vibe with it. And here, because that's the only other characters in the movie aside from the kids, just uh, it comes off weird at times.
I'm not sure if maybe you guys picked up on any of that, though. Maybe just me and Ton.
I didn't really. I like I see what you're talking about, like of how you could have, but I don't know. I always kind of I just saw it more of a like this kid, he has information that we need, so we got to work with him, and uh like maybe it could have worked better. Like I think they were going for like big sisters kind of thing. Maybe it could have worked more if we saw that the kid just had no friends whatsoever, but he
Yeah,
like
that's the
hung
other
out with
thing. He
some
had
buddies,
friends.
like
Mhm.
reading Gamera and muscle comics and stuff like that. But I don't know. I didn't get sexual overtones from it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
wasn't
think they
super
just
super
did it.
invested
I
in
think there's just
in
some
this.
parts that just seem weird. I don't think at all that was intentional.
Mm-hmm.
It's just probably just strange stuff.
Yeah.
Very strange, especially the scene of the kid sleeping in the same bed as the people.
That was pretty weird.
Yeah,
You can sleep on the
yeah.
floor.
I kind of felt weird during that.
That's the big one. That's like that, and the other scene I mentioned, and the ending. Those are the big two. That's like, what?
Mhm.
Especially because, like Ton said, I am not sure if you're meant to think that the kid went back home or not. I am genuinely
I think
not
they were
sure.
just like, all right, we're gonna do an epic soaring scene for the last Gamera movie.
Yeah. He's gonna go
Very
on so many more adventures with them now.
poorly edited shot of Tokyo.
Exactly. See, that's what I want. That's the last thing I want to think of showing Gamera. Poor compositing.
Oh, all the worst compositing. You can see all the matte lines on.
I know, right? Oh my gosh, it's so
But
funny.
yeah, does anyone else have anything they want to discuss with
We
this
didn't
movie?
talk about the turtle.
Oh yeah, there's also a turtle in this movie that gets freed.
Yeah, okay, so I was also half expecting at the end it's gonna be like, you remember Tibby? Fucking Pee Wee, fucking Tibby, whatever his name is from the first one, he's the new Gamera now. Because Gamera is fucking dead. Long live Tibby, the new Gamera.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. But I just thought it was funny how they had like 12 turtles in a tiny ass box.
Yeah.
You're like the turtle's just like vibing. You're the turtle's like, please free me. I want to get out of here.
I just kind of interpreted that the turtle he let go in the beginning kind of turned into Gamera or somehow.
I'm
Like
40,000% sure Gamera accidentally killed that turtle when he emerged.
just accidentally stepped on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But yeah. Is there anything else about this movie to talk about?
Not really, unless anyone else has any ideas
I
or
think we covered
something
it
they want
pretty
to share.
good.
I think it's funny how they edit in people like their new characters' reactions to old scenes, and they're just like, "Whoa, oh!" Like it's like staring like at nothing, no stakes at all because they weren't in that scene originally.
Exactly.
It's so comical.
There's
only other
like
note that I have
speaking
for
of that.
this
Go ahead,
No,
Cam.
go ahead.
Oh no, it's just saying the funniest bit of that crash is when the Ziggurat fight. You can see SeaWorld in
Oh
the
yeah,
stock
first scene.
footage.
Yeah, I'm hip. But then like when they cut back, because the new footage is not fucking there, it was just really awkward.
Also, Crash, like you said, they've used that beach like 5 times by now.
I'm hip. They use that beach all the fucking time. That's just the Gamera beach.
Mhm.
The one spot that no one charges them to film on. She was like, "Yo, shit, let's go over here."
The only other note I have for this movie is that they have a keyboard to control their van/spaceship.
Oh yeah,
Like they use that like
Oh,
a
yeah.
musical keyboard, and I'm like, wow, this is where the budget's got us at. They couldn't get they couldn't deck out their van spaceship with actual buttons. They just used a tiny little
Fucking
keyboard.
keyboard. Oh my,
Mhm.
it's so sad.
all right
That's all I
then.
got.
All right, I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right, Ton, do you want to do your closing thoughts first?
Sure. So Gamera Super Monster. Wow, this is harder than I thought. This was a movie. Um,
Yes.
it's the marks the end of an era. Um, like I said, it has interesting ideas. I think if like they had the money to make this movie and the props and stuff, they could have made something really interesting, but they didn't. So instead, you have this. Um, would I recommend Gamera Super Monster? No, not at all. Um, I think it's a funny movie. I think if you're bored and maybe you can watch it with friends, it's probably entertaining. But that's like the only context in which I'd say it's worth it to watch this movie. Uh, I think it's just kind of represents the kind of it's just kind of symbolic of Gamera's kind of show Gamera's legacy. Um, I'm glad Gamera stepped up from this point and didn't end here because it would have been a really sad legacy otherwise.
It really would have.
Yeah, I pretty much the same thing. It's kind of sad and funny how a lot of these gamer movies were like, yeah, only watch it if you want something like fun and to watch and make fun of. But this is like probably the most egregious camera, the cheapest one. There's like really nothing new here. It's very poor. Would not really recommend it unless you want to make fun of it because it's just poorly edited, dry, boring stock footage.
Yeah.
All this random shit I could say. It's just not a very well made movie. And it's the end of the Showa film. I guess kind of representative of how that era has been for Gamera, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But at least it's over.
Cam.
Get like 15 of your friends to come over, get plastered, and put this movie on. It's a trip. You'll probably have a good time in that kind of setting. Don't do what I did and just watch it alone in your room late at
Oof.
night and with the lights off. It just
Sounds
becomes
miserable.
sad. You just get sad. It's garbage. Bottom of the barrel. Not very good.
I think this movie. This might be the first time where I have to say, I don't think I've said it before, but I would not recommend this movie. I'm pretty sure I haven't said that before. Only to the most hardcore of Gamera fans or Kaiju fans. Why I recommend this too?
Yeah.
Because anyone else is not going to enjoy it. It's not the funniest Gamera movie. It's not the most
Well made.
yeah. It's not the most insane. If you want like a good show Gamera movie, there's Galaxy. If you want a funny one, there's Giron. If you want a unique one, there's Barugan. There's no reason to really watch this, I feel like, unless you're a completionist.
Like us.
Mhm.
Unfortunately.
I don't know what was so super about this monster.
Oh, that's the best point yet.
Super Star Destroyer.
Mhm.
More like-
But yeah, Cam, where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Apocalypse Entertainment. I talk about giant monster movies, horror movies. I have a Malignant video coming out soon.
Oh,
Watch
cool.
out for
Ooh.
that. And you can find me on Twitter at cam_sky_walker.
Cool. So yeah, thank you for coming on. It was a lot of fun having you.
Hey, thank you so much. This was a blast.
So yeah, this was our final show Gamera episode. Thankfully, we're free. We finally get to do Hasty Gamera now. Some of my favorite kaiju stuff. Fucking finally. The reason why I suffered through 8 movies of this.
Yeah.
The build up.
Yeah. Finally, Kaneko comes in, saves Gamera's ass, makes Gamera cool. Fuck yeah, let's go. Finally. So, but that'll be next week. Thank you guys for listening. This has been episode 8 of the Gamera Roundtable. Next time we'll be covering Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. Finally.
Ooh.
And until then, thank you for listening and have a good day.